Sua, I'm Jeff. We had some lunch together earlier.
We did.
So tell us about Brew Broth.
So Brew Broth is the world's first ready-to-heat-and-drink beverage to combine the protein and gelatin of bone broth with the vitamins and nutrients of cold-pressed vegetable and root juices.
Okay.
So I'm the editor for Project Nosh, which is our food site. One thing that's really interesting to me is, where do you think bone broth kind of fits in? Is it a food product? Is it a beverage product? How should entrepreneurs sort of approach it, as well as, how do you think consumers are seeing it?
Sure. So a little bit of all. And that's the fun part of creating a product that doesn't really exist in its form, and it's also the challenging part of creating a product like this. We set out to reinvent a centuries-old product. Bone broth has been around forever. I'm Korean. I grew up drinking bone broth my whole life. And when we started to make the batches in the kitchen and started destroying our kitchens with all the combinations of things that we did with our bone broth, we knew that we were going to be doing something that was going to take some education, and that wasn't going to be fitting or wouldn't slot exactly into people's perception of a beverage or a food.
Yeah.
It can be a meal replacement. It can be a beverage. Some people use it and make soup out of it and add greens and noodles and other things to it. And so, again, the fun and the challenge all at the same time for us.
So for some of our viewers at home, because we do get this question, so what is the difference between bone broth and stock?
Sure. So generally it's the cooking time.
Okay.
So the bone broth is cooked for a very long period of time. You're extracting all of the nutrients out of the bones. There are stocks out there that are cooked for an hour, maybe a few hours, where the protein to water ratio, it could be as high as 155 parts water to 1 part protein if it's a very light stock. Bone broth has heavy viscosity. It's got high protein because it's not only cooked for a long period of time, but the bones are actually also curated to get the right quality of bones that have the right amino acids and minerals that you want to pull out of it.
So this is obviously a complicated subject. How do you sort of convey that to consumers when you have major brands like Progresso coming out and saying that their new cooking stock is a bone broth?
Sure. So that was our conscious, very deliberate effort to differentiate ourselves from a stock. That is something that you take, that you cook with, that you make a soup or stew out of. The benefits that are in a cup of bone broth, and especially if you add fresh pressed vegetables and roots to it, in and of itself, you don't need anything else. You're getting high quality protein, you're getting high quality gelatin, you're getting the vitamins and the minerals from the vegetables as well. And so for us, it was really about creating that point of differentiation and also making it easy. If you know anyone who's ever made bone broth, it's not a pretty process.
I don't like to admit to it, no.
No, it's not a pretty process. And most people that come to us looking for bone broth have made it. They understand the level of difficulty involved in making it. They're grateful to not have to make it, and already come from a point of having some education. There are also people who come to bone broth because they're being prescribed it by their health practitioners or whatnot.
So, but there's a format question that I think applies with bone broth that also cuts across some of the other emerging categories, which is it's thought to be very culinary. It's thought to be associated with chefs, with on the go, with effectively on-premise business. So as you build out an RTD bone broth, do you try and play nicely with the restaurants and with the on-premise consumers?
And I also would love to hear, as part of that, I just saw that Whole Foods is looking for sort of mini stores within their stores, and you guys are like at the top for actually developing a bone broth sort of cafe.
Yes.
So does that play into sort of Jeff's question and the role it sort of plays?
Sure, they are very related. So we see, for restaurants to be making bone broth, it's a very natural, obviously, byproduct of what they use. They're roasting meats, they've got leftover bones. It's natural for them to be making broth, either to use in their stocks or to sell out the door. We see that as a really good thing, because the more people understand broth as an alternative to coffee or tea, as a warm beverage alternative versus something that you have to cook with or make something with, the better it is for us.
Can you caffeinate the stuff?
Well, funny you should ask that. We've got a formula called Cavo. It is bone broth coffee, and it is coconut oil. It is a savory coffee. It is actually one of our most popular SKUs. We've got diehard fans of it, and you're going to have to try it tomorrow. I'll have to make some for you. But yes, you can caffeinate it.
Damn it, my mouth got me in trouble again.
Yep, and now you're going to be drinking it tomorrow.
Perhaps on camera.
Oh, okay, well, let's do that. Definitely.
So, Suha, thank you very much.
Yep.
I'm afraid I have to cut you short because we have to move on.
Thank you, Jeff.
But thanks very much
Appreciate
for
it.
coming.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much.